Okay, so you guys were here on Friday, and I'm gonna ask you first, what were you guys doing here? You guys were having a good day at the pool, and then tell me what you saw in the water.
Oh, so basically, I was on the other side of the pool. Everybody was on the other side of the pool. So I go over to the side that I was on that no one was on, and I see something in the water. So I just see something blue in the water. So one of these kids, he's like 7 or 8, he said he was trying to practice his breathing underwater, like just being able to be underwater for a while. But I keep looking for like a minute, he still was under there, so I go diving under, and this body in blue was just completely curved backwards, and so I picked him up and I just like, hey, wake up, and I kind of dropped him, and I was like, I was like, oh no, I said, he's not breathing, looked at my mom, and I'm like, he's not breathing, yelling. No one paid attention. My mom took him and says, whose baby is this, whose baby is this?
And then people started to realize.
And then people finally started to realize because of his sister. And it was a 1.5-year-old, so like no more than 2. We don't know exactly the age, but no more than 2. And it was just crazy.
It was crazy. How did you feel? What was your first reaction when you saw, oh my gosh, this is a baby, like this baby might not be breathing? How did that make you feel?
I was just feeling a lot of things. I was just like, oh my gosh, no! Just a lot of things.
Right. And how does it make you feel knowing that like you are responsible for, in a way, saving this baby's life?
I feel good, and I know that, and I feel that God, if I wasn't here, that baby would have been dead, so God brought me that day to save him.
And Mom, how does it make you feel knowing that your son, how old are you, 9?
Yeah.
Your 9-year-old son saved someone's life. How does that make you feel?
Oh, so proud. Like, there's just not even a word for how proud I am of him. He was observant and reacted just
immediately.
Yes, better than adults. Like, I was shaking, and
I didn't have any time to shake.
But I honestly feel like maybe he even was more calm in the situation than I felt. It was terrifying situation, and he wasn't even supposed to be here that day with me, and it's just insane.
But my mom invited me. We were house sitting.
And so he wasn't even supposed to be here, and then we were here, and he just did something a lot of people wouldn't do or wouldn't notice to do, and I think that every second counted, and he had a huge part in it.
Even with my mom's little pats on the back for him, because she didn't know how to do CPR without breaking his back.
Right, yeah. Kind of walk me down what happened. You saved the baby. You got the baby out. Then what did the next few minutes look like?
The next few minutes, it was, everybody was crying. Some people were just overreacting. I was just like...
They were not. So
they weren't overreacting, but it was just like everything you heard was crying and screaming.
Yes. Well, so once he pulled the baby up and realized that he wasn't breathing and said that to me, I hopped out of my chair and ran and grabbed the baby, and when I held him and he wasn't moving, I just thought that my son was going to have to live with pulling a child out the water, and that was not the case of the story, and we were just so thankful to be here and be a part of helping save the baby's life. And so I grabbed him, and then, like he said, I was immediately in shock. And so I was just yelling, "Who's baby?" and patting him on the back. And I laid him on a chair, laid him down on a chair and started pressing. But I wasn't entirely sure of what to do.
You were
so
just like
pressing, and he
not
started
hard,
to have,
but just like
some bile and whatnot come out of his mouth. And by that point,
other people
other
saw.
people came and they started doing the real thing and really getting him to throw up. And until he started crying, and he had passed back out by the time the ambulance had gotten here. But he did have a pulse and was breathing, but just absolutely terrifying.
I mean, that's a super traumatic experience for you guys, for sure. I can't even imagine going through something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But Maddox, when you saw the baby coughing and throwing up, this baby might be alive, right? Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah.
How did that make you feel? Like,
I felt like God really performed a miracle in front of all of our eyes, and that relief and just glad that I could have been there, because if it was a minute or two later, he might have not been with us. His spirit might have already gone up. It would have been really sad, but who knows how long he was under there, but probably about
we're not sure.
5 minutes or something.
Yeah, like we said, he was at the bottom of the pool, so he had his lungs were full, and when he had swam up to him, I kind of noticed at the same time the way he did. I didn't see his whole body. I just saw some legs, and they looked really low and they weren't moving, and I was like, oh no. And it was at that same moment he went and picked him up and realized, it's real. There's a drowning.
so when you picked up the baby, you looked at your mom, what was going through your head right then and there?
I'm just scared. I was just like, I'm gonna see a dead baby, but I was kind of praying in my head for the baby that he would survive, and really worked. And just like my mom said, every second counts of what happened, because we don't know. No one might have saw him for an hour.
Okay. Is there any questions that you have, Christian? Do you guys have anything else you'd like to add?
Let's see, we talked about...
I guess actually one of my questions is, like, do you know how long all this, I know, like, time was probably going into
Probably about...
I'll answer this question. You don't have the best gauge of time.
But I'll say still, like, about probably 10 minutes.
Okay, that's a good estimate. By the time, I'd say it may have even been less than 10 minutes before the ambulance got here. They were really quick. That was once I had the people, it was probably a minute and a half, like, I don't know, a minute to a minute and a half before other people started getting involved, and kind of I got it out of the way.
Probably about 5 minutes then.
And then when I stepped away, I just stepped back and asked if anyone had called the ambulance. Another mother had, and then we just stepped back and watched them as they did more CPR, flipped him over, got him throwing up and things. I would say that everybody, once everybody knew what was going on, reacted really quickly and really well.
So maybe about like 5 to 10 minutes.
I mean, it was really quick, but it felt like a year.
You said around 2:30 on Friday?
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Not really.
No, that was the gist of it. Very quick, but also very long.
Yeah.
Terrifying, and just really thankful all at the same time. Life-changing experience for sure.
Yeah.
Well, if you're watching this, always keep your 1-year-old with you and have floaties on them, and make sure no one takes them, and keep your eye on them the most, your youngest child.
Yeah.
Or just don't even bring them in the pool.
Yeah, some good advice. Also, really quickly, these past few days, how have you guys been feeling?
I have been thinking about it a lot, like a lot. We haven't heard, you know, how the child's doing.
Yeah.
We didn't know the family or anything, and I was in shock once the EMTs had gotten the baby. I was really overwhelmed, and we just left.
Another thing to add was the door was locked, and there were no lifeguards, so there were just chairs over them, so people were just climbing over the wall. So the tough part was having to get the baby over the wall to them.
Yes, but I've just been thinking about it a lot. It's kind of kept me up at night and things. I'm just hope that there was no internal damage, because like I said, I've never seen anyone drown before, but I just know that other complications can come even though he's alive. I just hope he's doing okay. So that's what I keep thinking about. And just again,
Saving.
yes, that if he hadn't seen it, you know, I don't even think I would have seen the baby. Like I said, I only saw his legs, and it was just because I happened to look up looking for him.
But you probably just would have passed on by.
No, I would not have passed on by.
Well, then you just said you weren't going to think much. You probably wouldn't have noticed it.
If I was in the water, I would have noticed him, but
Yeah, if you
right up one. But being over here,
It's hard to see for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching the ABC 13 YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos and live coverage and local stories, click to subscribe and download our ABC 13 News app.